What's up, guys? Welcome to the 16th episode of the Trackside Girls podcast. I was gonna say it's on two hands, so it doesn't really
It
yeah
doesn't
it
work
doesn't
as
work.
well.
But
It's fine.
um, so we're gonna try to run through as much of this as possible. Um, all three of us were at Charlotte this weekend, but we only were able to meet up for it was probably like 45 minutes, I think, at max.
Something
Um,
like
but we're gonna try to run through this. Might throw in some of our experiences. We'll see how this goes. But as always, NASCAR first. Let's start off with last week before the race weekend. We know about the Stenhouse fight. Stenhouse and Kyle Busch. Ricky Stenhouse was fined $75,000 for fighting Kyle Busch. And Ricky Stenhouse's father, Stenhouse Sr., um, was suspended indefinitely. So we'll see if he comes back. And NASCAR announces the Hall of Fame class with Ricky Rudd, Carl Edwards, and Ralph Moody.
I love Carl. I love Carl.
We also have a very big topic to talk about, but we're going to get through the weekend first. Um,
Bro, hold on, no. I've been crying all day long, even though I knew it was happening. No joke. It's been so bad.
um, let's see. A couple of drivers were talking about the fight, basically wondering why they fined Ricky if NASCAR was going to use it to promote the sport. Um, that being Chase Elliott, Daniel Suarez, even Kelly Earnhardt made a comment. This week we had a new paint scheme for Ryan Blaney, um, showing off the body armor Flash IV. Get into the weekend. For trucks, we Lawless Allen, Jeffrey Earnhardt, Christian Eckes, and Tyler Ankrum all had to start at the rear for unapproved adjustments. Tyler Ankrum actually spun in qualifying, which I actually got a picture of him spinning. I was in turn 4 when that happened. Here, let me see if I can. I don't know how well you'll be able to see it, but I can still pull it up. Let me see. It's somewhere in here. It's a little blurry, but
You
that's
can definitely tell something's happening.
yeah. So that was a picture of Taylor Ankrum spinning out of turn 4. And also Caden Honeycutt made contact with Christian Eckes in practice, and Christian Eckes missed qualifying because of that. But ultimately, Tanner Gray. So, oh, so you guys don't know this. So I was there in the infield, and I got roped into going karting with Blaine Perkins and a couple of the Ryan Sieg Racing team guys. And we were all sitting eating dinner after karting, and we were watching the race, and both me and Blaine were sitting there like, man, we should have picked Tanner. Because Blaine picked Taylor, but not Tanner. But Tanner Gray got pole. Corey Heim swept the stages. And there wasn't, as far as I'm aware, a caution for cause until lap 68, where Tyler Ankrum spins after getting clipped by Brett Moffitt, um, but also collects Thad Moffitt, um, which there's no relation between Brett and Thad. They're just both Moffitts. Um, but Thad Moffitt hits Tyler Ankrum, and it ends up collecting Keith McGee. And Jeffrey Earnhardt also has damage at that point in time. And on lap 81, Matt Crafton loses a tire because of damage where he previously made contact with the wall. And lap 120, Chase Purdy gets into the wall from third, bringing out a caution. But ultimately, Nick Sanchez gains the lead and holds off Corey Heim for the win.
Right after that race, I was so mad, and I might have said not very nice words. Molly, my sister, definitely had to hold down my finger a lot. It wasn't very nice words, was it, Molly?
I don't know.
Yeah. It wasn't very nice. I was livid. Livid.
But Nick Sanchez won the truck race. On to Xfinity.
Corey did finish second, but then he got a DNF because 3 of his lug nuts wasn't on his tire all the way.
Yeah, because he got disqualified.
Oh, that I did not know.
Oh, it was literally their last pit stop, and 3 of his lug nuts weren't on, so he got disqualified. Yeah.
Yikes.
That's why he didn't try hard enough at the end there.
Yeah.
Oof. That's unfortunate.
Yeah, that ruined that.
But on to Xfinity. Kyle Weatherman went to the rear for unapproved adjustments. Actually, Blaine Perkins was having an issue with his steering. I'm not too sure if it was the steering column or what, but it took him a hot minute to get the car out there for practice. And Ogata and JJ Yaley spin in qualifying, but ultimately Ty Gibbs gets Xfinity pole. For the race, AJ Allmendinger made contact with Riley Herbst, spinning him into the inside wall, and that caused his day to be done, unfortunately. Justin Allgaier won stage 1. Parker Kligerman spun by himself on lap 74 coming out of turn 4 and makes contact with the inside wall, which I actually got a picture of that as well. Let me see. I have that picture somewhere. It's blurry, but there you go. There's Brandon Jones above Parker. So I was in turn 4 for that as well. Justin Allgaier sweeps the stages, winning stage 2. On lap 109, Kyle Sieg spins, so actually the spin happened before his Kyle Sieg's issues. Sheldon Creed had issues with his rear brake. His day ends on lap 120. And a couple laps after that, Blaine's day actually ends due to those mechanical issues, so he brings his car into the garage. And we thought that he was going to have to get in the car for Kyle Sieg from what I understand, a hose came loose in Kyle Sieg's race car, and he was basically just inhaling fumes. Um, so they thought that Kyle was going to have to get out and Blaine was going to have to finish the race in that car. But ultimately, Kyle did complete the race. I believe want to say he finished around 19th. On lap 170, Ryan Ellis wrecked. Lap 177, Ty Gibbs made contact with Justin Allgaier and sent him into the outside wall on the front stretch, ending Justin Allgaier's day. Luckily, he was able to drive the car back into the garage. You should have seen the look of confusion on my face whenever I saw Justin Allgaier's car in shambles driving into the garage. And the big, I would say, might have been the biggest, question mark, that I've seen is Austin Hill spun Cole Custer on the backstretch. A lot of people are upset about that.
Yeah, and now NASCAR's looking into it, so his fine, because they're probably gonna fine him, should be coming out tomorrow. Because Bob hasn't posted what it is yet. But NASCAR's looking into that because everybody was like, are we just not gonna talk about that Austin Hill literally just took out Cole for no reason whatsoever? So now NASCAR is looking into that. And I stand by my fact that I don't like Austin Hill, and I'm glad I didn't get a picture with him at his hauler, and I only got a picture with Jesse. Because I like his teammate more than him.
Yeah, Bob said NASCAR is looking into any potential penalties, and they'll be announced tomorrow.
Ultimately, Chase Elliott wins the Xfinity race, which means
Blaine Perkins was right on our picks.
he got the first correct pick of the weekend.
I would like to say I'm not a Chase Elliott fan, but if I was, I had been waiting for this moment for my entire life. But I can tell you, I had very mixed emotions because I had never seen Chase Elliott win, and I was crying because I didn't know how I felt. Because
you guys have been watching our episodes for a while, you guys will know that Lakota used to be a Chase Elliott fan, but she kind of stopped just because of how her interactions have went with Chase, and she's never seen him win in person. So she finally got to see that at Charlotte in the Xfinity race.
I was a little bit of a hot mess. I didn't know how to feel because I have been waiting for this moment for my entire life, and then it happened, and then I don't know. It was not a good Xfinity day for me. It was not a good Xfinity day for me. I was a hot mess. It was definitely mixed emotions because I have been waiting for Chase Elliott to win, and then I see him win, and then I'm like, I don't know how I feel right now. Although I have to admit, I do have to admit, the burnout was pretty killer. Even my parents said that he did a really good burnout.
I was hoping Brandon would come up and just pass him.
I was hoping that too. But I'm not gonna lie, Chase had a pretty good burnout.
It's blurry, but I got a picture of the burnout too.
Love that. Yeah, it was emotional for me because I didn't know how I felt. My immediate reaction was just crying. And that's what I did.
But some other Xfinity news, that apparently they fired Hailie Deegan's crew chief. They posted today, which is Tuesday. Effective today, AM Racing has parted ways with Joe Williams, the crew chief on Hailie Deegan's number 15 Ford Mustang. AM Racing's competition director, Matt Lucas, will step in as interim crew chief for this weekend's NASCAR Xfinity Series race at Portland International Raceway and next weekend at Sonoma. We thank Joe for his time at AM Racing and wish him the best on his future endeavors. So, wonder what happened there.
Hard to say.
But on to the Cup race. Chris Buescher actually had to go to the backup car, which they actually rebuilt overnight at RFK because obviously they were racing in Charlotte, so they were literally just down the road. And were able to fix the car lickety split. I was waiting for it. every time I say strange words, Lakota likes to repeat them.
Sometimes they're fun words to repeat, like lickety split.
William Byron actually spun in turn 4 in practice, which that one I was not down there for. I was down towards the beginning of pit road for practice. Joey with unapproved adjustments. Tyler Reddick had to serve a pass-through penalty for the race due to unapproved adjustments after going through tech. Justin Allgaier stepped in to the 5 because Kyle Larson was still at Indy running the Indy 500 at the time because the Indy race was delayed due to weather. On lap 88, which I believe was the first caution for cause, BJ McLeod spun by himself coming out of turn 4. William Byron won stage 1. Around lap 156-ish, Ryan Blaney hit the wall in turn 4, which we believe was due to a tire or wheel issue. I was actually standing in turn 4 and I saw one of the wheel hubs roll off his car, but they couldn't get one of his wheels off, which is what ultimately ended his day. But they had to bring out a caution because he was stuck on pit road and they had to tow him off. On lap 172, Noah Gragson spins due to contact from Ricky Stenhouse. And lap 197, Harrison Burton actually spins exiting turn 1. Christopher Bell ended up winning stage 2. Lap 230, Corey LaJoie spins in turn 4. Turn 4 was not good to drivers this weekend. And lap 246, they went under caution for weather. First, it was just rain, and then ultimately they had an immediate 30-minute delay due to lightning in the area. So they red flagged the race as soon as Kyle Larson makes it to the track. He was being on a golf cart into the infield as it was as the weather delay had been engaged. I don't know what the word would be for that. I can't think of that right now. But the most controversy is the rain stopped. It was actually legitimately pouring rain for a solid 15-20 minutes. So the rain stopped. They put out the jet dryers. At least I'm almost positive. So they were in the process of drying the track. But they called the race because they didn't think they were going to get back racing until 1 a.m. Which there were drivers I was in the media center at the time. There were, um, like photographers, crew. Everybody was like ultimately sitting there waiting and being like, we're prepared to race until 3 a.m. Like we're prepared to race this out. And apparently it was like what 10:30 or so, I think. So they claimed that they weren't going to be able to get the track dry until about 1 a.m. That was where it started. And honestly, I think they just ultimately gave up. Like on
They
drying
did.
the track.
And they shouldn't have, because by midnight the track was completely dry. Because Christian, who lives up in the that lives up in the condo, yeah, he literally tweeted and said, "We could go racing. The track is completely dry."
Yes, he lives in one of the condos in turn 1. And
so they could have went racing, but they just decided not to.
Yeah.
So that was annoying.
One of NASCAR's reasons they couldn't go or dry the track is because it was too humid.
Yeah, humidity.
That's stupid. Sorry, that's stupid.
Yeah, no, that makes no sense.
People are saying it wasn't really NASCAR, but it was Fox. I've seen people have been saying that.
Boo-hoo! Is it gonna be past your bedtime? Guess what? It was already past my bedtime at 9:30. But I was fully prepared to sit out for another like hour or two to watch the freaking finish of the Coca-Cola 600.
Because this Coca-Cola 600 is Fox's last airing of it.
Oh, wait, is this the last race they have?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Coca-Cola 600 was the last race they had, and they just completely canceled it by calling it.
Wow, I didn't know. I guess yeah, because it was like June 7th or something. That is their final of the race hub. So yeah, I guess.
I'm sorry, but that is stupid. Regardless or not, I don't care if it's your last showtime on Fox. That is stupid. People paid money to watch the Coca-Cola 600, and we only saw like how many laps did we even see?
To at least almost 250.
They both was
400 laps.
370,
376.5 or something like that.
It was something like
yeah.
I wasn't sitting there to watch that. I was sitting there to watch the 600, and that didn't even happen. That is stupid. I don't care.
But so apparently they called the race on TV before they even told the winner. Before it even showed on the screens at the track. Like
yeah, they had the fireworks going off before they even announced that Bell was the winner.
Like Ty Gibbs had to go into Christopher Bell's motor coach and tell him that he won.
Bell was literally sleeping. Morgan's the one that answered the phone. Because they literally called them. So she had to wake Bell up so he at least semi knew what was going on.
And then
Morgan's the one that answered the phone saying, you're the winner.
Yeah, Christopher Bell was on a golf cart on the way to Victory Lane. And he was literally saying, he was like, dude, I was almost dead asleep. Like, he was almost out.
Yeah, never mind the fact that all the other guys already had coffee and was already drinking like Celsius or like energy drinks to stay awake to run the race.
There was a bunch of them that were already set to finish this race out.
And I mean, a lot of the drivers are mad about it. Brad's mad about it. Denny's mad about it. They're mad because they're like, we should have just finished, because Denny's the one that said the track was dry by like 12:15 and we could have fully ran the race.
Because even Joe Gibbs said, like, even before they called it, like, it was like 15 minutes before, like, they were gonna call drivers to the cars.
Yeah.
That's what Joe Gibbs said.
They could have fully ran the race, but Fox straight up was like, "No, we don't want to be here that late. I don't care."
Yeah.
I was fully prepared.
The track was dry because they were gonna call the drivers to the cars like in 15 minutes.
Yeah.
So something that I find kind of funny. I was sitting in the media center like right after the rain had started, and I think it had stopped like downpouring at that point. And I made the joke, and I was like, "Guys, we need to go send Parker Kligerman out there to make sure it's wet."
He'll tell you.
Yeah.
He's our
We got
for anybody who doesn't know, Parker Kligerman is our weatherman when it comes to if it's freaking raining outside. Like literally no joke. He
That-
is just the weatherman.
so that
Like,
is okay. Are any other races going to be on NBC this season? That's the rest of the season, right? At least the rest of this season. Is that correct?
I believe so.
Because if that's the case, Parker helps in the NBC broadcasts. So
Which
we're gonna see-
I love.
so Noma would be Fox's last
Okay.
one, and then it'll be like USA and then NBC for the rest of the.
Because I love when Parker is a pit reporter. I love Parker.
He's so funny. He gets the job done. Like, you want to know something? He's like, "All right, bet. Let me go ask him real quick." Or if it's raining, he'll tell us if the track is wet or not. And I think it's the most funniest thing ever, as it's already downpouring.
Like,
I love Parker being a reporter.
Like, I saw this tweet. It was like somebody was like in the infield, like where none of the track drivers would go, and like their spot was already dried, like completely dried.
Dude, I saw somebody's TikTok and it was 3 guys and they're like, "It's midnight. Our area on our track is completely clear. Like it looked like it didn't even rain at all." They're like, "They could have been racing because the track is completely dry." And I'm like, "You, sir, are a lifesaver ish."
I mean,
You just
a lot of people were committed to stay out there pretty much till 3 a.m.
I was, and my bedtime's 9:30.
So now onto the thing that is probably going to take the most amount of time. The biggest news. Stewart-Haas Racing will be shutting down at the end of the 2024 season.
When I say I literally have been crying all day long, I mean, I have been crying all day long. I knew it was going to happen, but I am so sad.
Yeah, I pretty much know as much as pretty much everybody else. Like, we don't know who's gonna buy any of the charters or anything. Haven't announced those yet.
Okay, so let's start with that. There are obviously 4 charters up for grabs in the Cup Series. There are rumors that 3 of those charters could be going, 1 to Trackhouse, 1 to 2311, and 1 to Front Row. So meaning there's still 1 open. Some people say RCR. Some people say RFK. Some people are saying potentially even Spire. But where are the drivers going? So the rumors with that, I have seen that Riley and Josh Berry to Front Row. I have seen Noah to either RCR or RFK. I have seen Briscoe to Wood Brothers.
That's the biggest one right there. That
Yeah.
is Briscoe to Wood Brothers.
And that leaves Ryan Preece out of a seat unless he can pull something together. I have, which I haven't seen anything with Cole. But with Stewart-Haas, I don't know, because I don't know if it's specifically for if it's the entirety of Stewart-Haas, because everywhere is always talking about the Cup Series. Everything I see online never mentions the Xfinity Series, which is why it confuses me. But so let's say it is Stewart-Haas altogether, Cup, Xfinity. Ford is losing their best assets in the Xfinity Series. So some people say that Ryan Sieg, this is a rumor, which I don't see this happening whatsoever, but somebody said potentially Ryan Sieg Racing picking up another car, and the same with AM Racing picking up another car. I don't see that happening. I see Ford trying to throw money at RFK, Penske, and Front Row to all start Xfinity Racing. In Penske's case, to restart Xfinity Racing. Actually, I think RFK was also racing in Xfinity at some point. But basically, Ford potentially throwing money at those three teams to get back into the Xfinity Series. Because the Xfinity Series is basically their Ford's driver program for the Cup Series. So we'll see how that goes. So here's a hot take. As much as I love, okay, he's my favorite Cup driver, Austin Cindric. I think Penske should start their Xfinity program back up with 2 cars. Put Austin back in Xfinity. And pull either Riley or Cole Custer for their Xfinity program. What do you think? Because I feel like it's heavy on Riley going to Front Row, considering he has already ran races for them and as a third Cup car. So I feel like that is a likely option for him. Bro, this is like the biggest news, and you guys ain't got nothing to say.
I don't even know what to say, because I physically, okay, here's what I think. I knew the minute that Tony Stewart said that he was not gonna worry about that and go to drag racing, I knew he was done with Stewart-Haas. The minute that Leah quit drag racing,
he's been done with NASCAR for years.
I know.
He hates, even if you ever
The only reason
he will not sign anything NASCAR.
The only thing he hates it is because he couldn't get Kyle Larson, because Ford wouldn't allow them to take Kyle Larson. That is the only reason that Tony Stewart hates NASCAR, because he didn't get Kyle Larson. That is the only reason why. He hates NASCAR for that. So that's why this is all happening. Because he couldn't get Kyle Larson to race at Stewart-Haas. That is the sole reason why this happened.
And I would like to point out that Stewart-Haas and Haas F1 are two separate entities. So this Stewart-Haas does not affect Haas F1. But Gene Haas is apparently taking his cut of whatever they get out of selling the charters and things like that from Stewart-Haas. He is apparently putting all of that towards Haas F1.
I don't know. Molly, what you got?
I was
Got nothing.
there's some things that I like the rumors. I just don't know if I can say them or should say them. That's just my intake.
You specifically have to be careful with what you say, because
Yeah.
So, but we didn't think we were gonna get a silly season, because a lot of the places were pretty set on where everyone was going, and the biggest thing up to this point was Michael McDowell leaving front row. Now this throws a huge wrench into pretty much everything. It's Ford is losing 4 of their cars in the manufacturers championship. And those charters could be going to the competitors. It sounds like most of them are being taken by Chevy or Toyota. So we'll see how this goes. We'll see what Ford is gonna do. But yes, that's the biggest news in the NASCAR world at the moment. But let's go ahead and move on to INDYCAR. There was a 4-hour weather delay for the Indy 500, which threw Kyle Larson's plan to be in both the Indy 500 and the Coca-Cola 600, completely threw it all out of whack. And he would have been able to make it back, I would say, if the Indy 500 would have started on time. But on lap 1, Tom Blomqvist spun in turn 1, and it collected Marcus Ericsson, and it included contact with Callum Ilott and I think it's Petro. I don't know how to say his first name, but Fittipaldi, and it ultimately ended Fittipaldi's race. Under that yellow, Marcus Armstrong's car started smoking, so he retired on lap 6. By lap 27, both Catherine Legg and Linus Lundqvist were out of the race. Pato O'Ward had a fantastic save, not once but twice, within the same maybe 3 seconds, honestly. But fantastic for him. And basically the Hondas were exploding. Like, it was, I don't know what was going on with their engines or something, but something was happening. Colton Herta spins, kind of crashes on lap 86. Kyle Larson was in the top 10, but was hit with a speeding penalty on pit road, which kind of ruined his top 10 result. And lap 147, Will Power crashes, and Pato Award passes Newgarden going into the final lap. So he was leading for turns 1 and 2 on the final lap. Joseph Newgarden has the momentum going into turn 3 on the final lap and passes Pato Award. And so ultimately, Joseph Newgarden wins the Indy 500, which means Lakota's pick was correct for the Indy 500. Joseph again stops on the start-finish line, goes and celebrates with the fans out in the grandstands. This is the second year in a row that he has won the Indy 500 and done the celebration. But the heartbreaking thing was for Pato Award. He, like, genuinely, like, watching his interview, watching his interactions after he got out of the car, like, it honestly heartbreaking.
It was so sad, especially when he was just sitting in his car and he just put his head down and Zach Brown walked over to him and then everybody started hugging him and I was like, don't cry, don't cry, don't cry, because it hurt. And then I saw his interview and I was like, this actually breaks my heart.
Like,
so bad.
A lot of people were saying that they were like, this is how you gain fans. Which, like, I see it in the way, like, sure, okay, showing that, I guess, like, your vulnerability on TV, showing how much you care for your sport, how much you care to have won this race. One, it's the Indy 500. I feel like anybody would be in that situation. And be this heartbroken that you came up second in the Indy 500. Like, everybody wants to win the Indy 500. But it shows how much these drivers care for this sport and care for them racing in these cars. And I think that is one of the things that when drivers do act like that, it shows that they aren't these untouchable people. Like, they are still humans like you and me. They still have feelings. They still care for things like we do. But yes, it was very heartbreaking. And Joseph's speech yesterday, I believe it was, at their, like, after Indy banquet, he specifically pointed out Pato and was like, honestly, you deserved to win this. Like, you drove fantastically, you put up a good fight, and, like, honestly, I wish you, basically saying that, like, Pato should have won the race because of how he was running and how talented he is. And I'm so glad that Joseph is like that. Like, Penske drivers, they're so nice. They're so sweet. But yes, Joseph Newgarden ended up winning the Indy 500. Let's see. Kyle Larson finished the Indy 500 in, let's see, what place was that? Where did he finish? He finished.
Wasn't it 8?
Yes, he finished 18th.
18th. I was gonna say, wasn't it 18th?
So for F1, they were in Monaco for the Monaco Grand Prix. FP1, Mercedes looked strong. They finished first and third in the free practice session. McLaren, strong looking again. Oscar P2, Lando P4. FP2, Charles on top in P1. Lewis and Alonso following him. Max was complaining about his car. Claimed it was jumping like a kangaroo. Hold on. More stuff in FP1. Zhou Guan Yu hit the barrier, and the session was red flagged. And we thought that the Monaco curse was catching Charles already because the debris from Zhou's car got sucked up under Charles's car. And Charles has never won in Monaco, in any category. So the Monaco curse has been strong. But there were a couple people who, in free practice 1, missed turn 1. Hulkenberg, Valtteri, Alex, quite a few. Gasly had a power unit issue in FP1. Max was actually skimming the guardrails around the circuit. And Lando had a faster lap than Max while Lando was using the hard tire and Max was on mediums. Charles was also skimming the same guardrail that Max was. Let's see. In FP3, Charles was P1, Max P2, and Lewis P3. Valtteri actually went into the wall, sustaining suspension damage that brought out a red flag. As for qualifying, Charles got pole for the Monaco Grand Prix, which this has happened before. Charles has gotten pole, and things have went terribly wrong. So we were very scared. Oscar got P2 and Carlos got P3 in qualifying. Max actually hit the wall and finished 6th in qualifying. Nico and Kevin Magnussen were actually disqualified from qualifying due to a DRS infringement. Checo is the big loser because he started the race 18th. Which I do believe that was before they disqualified. So I believe he moved up a couple spots due to that. As for the race, 1 lap in, there was a huge crash in, I believe it was turn 3, involving Checo, K-Mag, and Hulkenberg. And it was just kind of, K-Mag put his car in a place that it shouldn't have been, clipped Checo, turned him sideways. Nico got clipped by Checo. Luckily, all of them were unharmed, but it was a very, very big, a lot of damage for Checo. So the race was red flagged. And Carlos was actually the biggest winner out of that because he actually missed turn 1. I believe it was. And because of that, because they didn't make it through sector 1 before the red flag, Carlos got to restart in his original position. But it was red flagged. I don't remember exactly how long the red flag was, but it was long enough for me to take a shower. I could tell you that much. Because I had to get ready to go to the NASCAR track. So I did that very quickly. And there was heavy contact between the Alpines because Esteban Ocon, before the red flag, Esteban Ocon dove into the turn didn't judge it correctly, went into Pierre Gasly, and it caused Esteban Ocon to go airborne. And he sustained damage from that. And Esteban Ocon will have a 5-place grid drop for Canada. 16 cars restarted after the red flag. The ones that were out were K-Mag, Hulkenberg, Checo, and Esteban Ocon. Sainz actually thought that Charles was going too slow at some point in the race. And also Max thought that George was going too slow at some point in the race and could not get past him. Charles actually ends up winning the Monaco Grand Prix by 7 seconds. Wins his home race finally. Post-race on the podium, the Prince of Monaco actually jumped in to the champagne spray and was pouring champagne on Charles on the podium. And Charles and Fred actually jumped into the ocean after it was all said and done. And Charles literally had the perfect dive. Like, people are making jokes, like, to put him in the Olympics because of this, how perfect this dive was. But Oscar got P2 and Charles got P3. As for other formulas over the weekend in Formula 2, Zach O'Sullivan actually won in Monaco, and Paul Aaron got another podium and is leaving Monaco as points leader in F2. Red Bull actually has said that they look to retain Checo for the second seat for 2025, which actually after this weekend he's dropped about 3 places in the drivers' championship. I believe he is 5th. There were no penalties for the Magnussen, Hulkenberg, Perez situation, as well as there were no penalties for Carlos when I believe he actually made contact with Oscar on that first lap. Which Charles actually had a last minute engine change before the weekend started, I believe it was. And Lando actually had to pit to, I guess, remove a sticker at the Monaco Grand Prix. Not too sure what that is. And apparently Christian Horner is surprised that Andretti consulted, or well, actually, I don't even think so. The situation with how Andretti got denied, and Congress wrote a letter to either FIA or Formula One, whatever it was, to figure out the reasoning of why Andretti was denied. I don't believe, from the information that I'm aware of, I don't believe that had anything to do with Andretti telling Congress to get them to find out a reason why. But apparently Christian Horner is surprised that Andretti consulted Congress over it. But yeah, I think that is it for Formula One. Now we gotta go on to this weekend. This weekend, NASCAR actually splits up. Cup and trucks are going to Worldwide Technology Raceway in, is it St. Louis?
Mhm.
And then the Xfinity Series is actually going to Portland. So they're splitting up, which I believe this is... How many times do they split like that? I know some of them go to Mid-Ohio. I think the trucks go to Mid-Ohio at one point. I don't know. The schedule's kind of weird, if I'm gonna be honest. So if there is another one like that, we'll get to it when we get to it. But we have NASCAR this week as, let's see. INDYCAR is going to Detroit. They are racing, I believe, in actually the streets of Detroit, if I remember correctly. And then yeah, so Formula One is actually off this weekend. Next weekend they will be in Montreal. So this weekend we only have NASCAR and INDYCAR. So let's start off with the trucks that are going to be at Worldwide Technology Raceway. Let's see who's on the entry list. Yo, my boy Colby Howard is gonna be in the 1 for Tricon. This week they have in the 7 Andres Perez de Lara. I believe that's how you say his name. And also Connor Mozak is actually driving the 45 for Nice. I'm not sure. I can't remember if I mentioned that or not.
Love Connor. My favorite. Big Connor fan over here.
So who do we got?
For trucks.
Yeah, who are we going with?
Christian as the winner, and I'm gonna go Tanner as long shot.
Are we still going off of Blaine's rules?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
I can't do his rules. I'm not doing his rules. Sorry, Blaine. You're not here. You ain't getting no rules. There's no rules.
I'm going Corey as my winner and Taylor as my long shot.
Okay. I'll go Ben Rhodes as winner. Who did you pick for your... Did either of you guys say Purdy?
No.
Okay, then I'll go long shot Purdy. There we go. Now all three of us have different people, so he can't yell at us.
See,
at least for trucks, he can't yell at us.
See, we did the Gray brothers. I did Tanner. She did Taylor.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, I didn't go in by his rules because I can't. He already made me think hard enough as it was, freaking in Charlotte. That was tough, man. That was tough.
So for Xfinity, they're actually gonna be. I believe this is a road course.
Mm-hmm.
If I remember correctly. Parker Klingerman. I call Parker.
Parker's my long shot. I'm going Sam as my winner.
Okay. Which was it? Watkins Glen that he won that road course? Was that it?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking Sammy Smith as my winner since he finished 3rd at Charlotte. He's improving.
Okay.
Because I want Sammy.
But we just said we're not going off of Blaine's picks. Blaine's thing.
I ain't doing it.
So I'm still going to Parker as my long shot.
Okay.
Watch, no. He'll see our post and he'll immediately text it and be like, you guys all have the same pick choices. We'll be like, yeah, you weren't honest, so we weren't abiding by your rules.
Yeah.
I still go Parker as my long shot. Sam was
I'm gonna say Sammy as my winner, and then I'll say Jesse as my long shot.
Oh God, hold on.
Sam as my winner, Parker as my long shot.
I'll say Sammy and Jesse.
Okay, so I'm going Parker as my winner, and
Frankie's running in it.
I saw that. You know what? I'll go. I don't know how well he is on road courses though. I was
What are you
gonna
gonna say, Sid?
People
well,
say.
I can't. I mean, I know who you guys are thinking. He is better on road courses, but that's not the one I'm thinking of.
What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say Anthony Alfredo for my long shot.
Not bad.
You guys thought I was gonna pick Blaine, didn't you? Which, to be fair, I will say he, apart from Martinsville, he's good at super speedways and road courses. Those are the types of tracks that he's better at. So like I wouldn't count him out for like top 15 for this week. But I always gotta support my boy, as always. But yeah, so I'm gonna go Parker Kligerman is my winner. I'll go Anthony Alfredo as my long shot. For Cup, back to Worldwide Technology Raceway. I think I'm gonna go Joey Logano as my winner.
I'm gonna go Ty as my winner.
Okay.
That's a good one.
Lakota, you're the only one left.
Cause I'm deciding here, okay? I'm gonna say I have no clue.
Guys, Cody Ware is back.
I saw that. You know what? I'm just gonna say Alex.
Okay. Oh God. My long shot?
I'm gonna go Carson as my long shot.
Okay. I'll say Martin Truex Jr. for my long shot.
Me again? Okay, cool. I don't know. I'm gonna say screw it. I'm just gonna say Noah.
Well, looky there. There's only one repeat. Now we gotta
No, she chose Alex last week too.
No. I'm talking about like me and you were the only one that had the same person.
Oh.
Okay. Now INDYCAR. The streets of Detroit.
Bless you.
Thank you.
I'm gonna go I'll go Colton Herta as my winner. And Christian Lundgaard is my long shot.
You know what? I'm just gonna say Pato as my winner, and he'll get there soon. I hope. And I don't know. And we'll go. Sid, who'd you just say?
I said,
You
Colton
said
Hurt,
and
Christian Lundgaard.
Yeah, I'm gonna say Pato, and then I'll go with Scott Dixon as my long shot.
Okay.
I'll go Alex Palou as my winner. And my long shot, I'll go Marcus Armstrong.
I love Marcus, bro. Considering this is his first full season and he's 15th in point standings, like, baffles me. Anyway. Okay. Well, guys, that is our picks for the weekend. I think that's it. You guys got anything else?
No.
Okay. Alright. This has been the 16th episode of the Trackside Girls podcast, season 2. And let's do our outro. You guys ready?
Yeah.
Okay. It goes, peace, with no confetti this time. Love and race cars.
Race cars.
Good night, guys.